This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. This is the regular June meeting of the Davenport Public Library Board of Trustees. We are meeting in the Brook Room at the Davenport Public Library at Fairmont. My name is Steve Emming, President of the Board of Trustees, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is roll call and introduction of attendees. Malavika Shrikandi. Malavika, can you hear us?
She's off. She's better.
Oh,
Muted.
She typed on the side, I'm very sorry, I cannot hear you all.
sorry.
She can't hear.
She can't hear us either.
I'm not sure. Great.
You call it by phone? Yeah.
Just today?
No, I do it, that's fine.
Okay. Amanda, can you hear us now?
Oh, I could hear you the whole time. I'm sorry. I was just reading that on the side. Malavika had said she couldn't.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you.
She can't hear us.
Okay. And Laura, you can hear us?
नाही sorry vibes म्हणजे ते डब्यात असतात
Yes,
ना.
I'm present and I can hear
करायचे,
clearly.
आपल्या
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Malavika, we could hear you then.
नंतर बोलते मैत्री. I am going into the DP. No, that's okay. DPL meeting. Bye.
Not for us. She got it once.
So yes, she's present, or no, she's not?
Malavika, actually, Malavika,
He needs to be present, so.
can you hear us?
Can you use your phone? Can you dial in? Phone. Dial in with
I
the
did.
phone.
I did.
Oh, okay. It's not working.
Okay,
Well, it's not working.
okay, and we'll carry on again. Let's try this again. Roll call. Malavika? Okay, we'll come back to her. Sylvia?
Yes.
Okay,
I almost did.
Amanda Mata?
Today.
Yes.
Laura Geddes?
Present.
Thank you. Judy Lance?
Here.
Thank you. Malavika? No, she's
She's not up there.
Okay. Well, we can see Malavika, she was here, and we know she's trying to get back on, so we will count her as present. And myself, Steve Emming, am present, is present. Okay. Introduction of attendees. Also with us for this meeting is Jeff Collins, the library director, Lexi Riley, the assistant library director, Jennifer Williams, HR operations manager, Tracy Moore, development officer, Casey Shipley, recorder, and Brittany Peacock, community outreach and marketing supervisor, and Marion McGinnis, our city council liaison. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will move.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Second.
Thank you, Sylvia.
I
Do we have a
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Malavika?
Yes.
Thank you. Sylvia?
Yes.
Thank you. Amanda?
Yes.
Thank you. Laura?
Yes.
Thank you. Judy?
Yes.
Thank you. And my own vote is yes. The motion carried. Next item on the agenda is public with comment. No one is present, so we'll continue on. Reports and communications. Um, Report from the Friends. Heidi is not present. I know I attended their meeting along with Jeff, and they are working on an RFP to look at their an RFP for their financial advisor position, the person that is their financial advisor. And so they're working on that. And anything else off the top? Okay. Also, maybe I'll mention now that one thing that was mentioned there is that they're looking for additional volunteers for the bookstores, and that requires a minimum commitment of 2 hours per week, and that computer skills are required, and it's, I guess, fun work. So if you know anybody that's interested, or if you're interested, let the Friends know, or Jeff or I know, and we'll get that information to them. Okay. Next item under reports and communications is committee reports. First item there is finance, and Jeff and Joe are not here, so I will, as a member of the finance committee, I will cover the things that Tom usually covers. We are almost through the fiscal year, and as of this report anyway, which was been as of the end of May. 90% of the fiscal year had been completed, and we are about 90% through of our budget expended, so things are on schedule, I guess. We have a few things that are high and a few things that are low, but overall we are right where we ought to be. Next item under committee reports is personnel. Anything from personnel, Amanda?
Nope, nothing from personnel this month.
Okay, thank you. Next item under committee reports is advocacy. Yes, go ahead.
Steve and everyone, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. I do not have an update, but I do want to share when we were at Fairmont this Sunday with the Scott County Community Waste Commission for their I Live Here campaign to clean up the road. They brought up the first thing that they said was the Danforth Public Library, Fairmont area is always clean. We don't have to go anywhere inside at all. And they started off with that. And later on, after the whole, the 2 hours were done, we all came back to the library. They used our restrooms and water fountains, etc. And they very heartily thanked what the library has to offer and things like that. So they were also appreciative. And there was one board member of the Nahant Marsh who was attending. They were really, really appreciative of everything that the library offers. And they thanked the staff on that day, which was Sunday. That was it. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you for the cleanup. It looks very nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on. Next item under reports and communication is the director's report. Jeff, anything you want to add or amplify from the report you provided?
Yep, so as you know, the partial building collapse at 324 Main Street over Memorial Day weekend forced the closure of the main library on May 29th. That has been a lot of challenges, obviously, that come with that. This event did cause major disruptions to library operations and then impacted a number of library employees who either knew people that were in the building that were regular library patrons.
That's what I wondered. That was.
Staff quickly did adapt, and they really should be applauded for their resilience during this difficult situation. While I was out those first couple of days, Lexi stepped in and did a fantastic job, along with administration and other members of the leadership team. Just a summary of some of what was accomplished during those first couple of weeks now, and we're at 22 days out or so, 23 days now. Staff were reassigned to Fairmount and Eastern. We set up temporary workstations. We contacted patrons to get their holds transferred to other libraries. We transported laptops and other supplies to staff of the branches, and then we got word out to the community about the closure of the main library. Changed settings in our ILS. We notified our resource sharing partners, including Rivershare Libraries and Mobius, and then we shared ideas for how the library could help people in the community. We canceled or shifted a number of programs that were scheduled for May. We temporarily increased hours at the branches, so we're open at 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday to provide enhanced service while main library was closed. We deployed the OWL and outreach services to the downtown area 2 times a day, every day for the last couple of weeks, except for Sundays. We attended the American Red Cross Multi-Agency Resource Center event at the Davenport Y to provide assistance for impacted individuals and families. We allowed first responders and Iowa Task Force 1 search and rescue team to use the library to cool off and use our restrooms. We provided general information and reference services to the public. We were able to retrieve items from the hold shelves at Main to deliver to patrons that were waiting for items that they had placed on hold. We assisted some city officials obtain blueprints for some of the buildings in the vicinity surrounded by the partially collapsed building on a couple of different occasions that they needed in terms of preparing for the demolition. So that was very helpful. Even that, so there were a couple of national news reports that used some of the blog posts that our staff had written on the history of the Davenport Hotel building, which was really great. And ultimately, I just want to say thank you to our amazing staff for their resilience during this time and what they were able to do to provide exceptional customer service during this time. As in terms of reopening, as you know, the communications I've been providing to the board, it's ongoing in a fluid situation. There is a delay in the removal of the debris that should be starting up tomorrow morning. That was a court order that was issued on Friday that halted any removal of materials from the site. I'm told that it's going to be about 800 dump truck loads, and it will take them multiple days to move that off-site. They're doing a really good abatement for asbestos to make sure that it's safe for the area, safe as they move the material to other locations while they're transporting throughout the community to get over to the landfill. So we're pleased with that. Fire hosed down the front of the library for us, including the sidewalks, and we were able to provide N95 masks to staff if they're interested in wearing them for those staff that are inside the building at this point. From what we understand, they've had Department of Natural Resources from Iowa on site testing air quality, and from what we understand, there have been no concerns expressed for that, which is really positive. We're hoping to reopen the main library on Monday, the 26th, is tentatively, depending on how things play out. Any questions in terms of the closure during this time that myself, staff might be able to answer? Of course, Marion is probably going to know more about the situation than I do.
No, just, like I said, everybody's done a wonderful job. Really appreciate them being there and being resilient, flexible, all those things.
Is this the time to talk about what we as a board can do, or is that like, can we add that to the agenda? You and
Well, we can't add it to the agenda, but
Sorry,
we can't add it to the agenda.
I always forget my Robert's. Because I had said we wanted to discuss that.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't, but as I said, it wasn't, we set up the agenda last
So then
Tuesday.
it can't be discussed?
Well, I thought we could, discuss that in I don't know, maybe in a smaller group. I don't know, it's been very
Okay,
confusing week.
I guess so. All right.
Okay.
A couple of other things to pass on to, obviously, our thoughts are with those impacted individuals, the victims. There is the Quad Cities Community Foundation established the Quad Cities Disaster Recovery Fund. So if anybody is willing to have the means to provide support, that information is available on our website as well. Other things for the library, in addition to what's been going on, obviously, we were able to hire 4 employees to assist community outreach and marketing using CDBG funds. So that is a great partnership we've had with the city and the CED for the last 4 years, and Brady will probably share more information about that when she talks about her report, but we're excited to have those 4 employees on for the next 2 months to help do a lot more outreach into the parks and other areas. Summer reading is in full swing, so definitely I would encourage you to share that information widely with your networks and get more people participating. We have a lot of registrants already. The kickoff party, which was Touch a Truck on June 3rd, went really well. It was here at Fairmount. We had nearly 800 participants. The current ALA president was a special guest on our most recent episode of Checked In, which is really cool. And I'm sure that you'll hear more about that from Brittany when she talks about her report in a bit. And in terms of upcoming library programs and events, a couple to highlight. Joy March is coming up. That'll be a lot of fun. Read to a Dog will be at Fairmount in July. We'll have an author visit also in July, and a magician that'll be here again in July. And then the Heart of Downtown Davenport Architectural Styles and Stories in July. All that information is going to be forward. And then the June calendar also has information on events and programs that are occurring this month. One other thing that didn't make it into the report is tentatively we have a date for the groundbreaking ceremony for the community center. That will be Tuesday, July 11th from 3 to 4 p.m. So again, that is tentative, and that will be the groundbreaking ceremony for the Fairmount Community Center, Tuesday, July 11th from 3 to 4. I encourage you to attend if you're able to. Once I have more details, I'll pass that on to the board. And I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns regarding the report.
Questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Marian.
This is Laura. I just wanted to commend Jeff and Lexi for your great response. You know, I was really impressed how quickly we expanded the hours at the branches and mobilized the owl twice a day. Those were things that weren't even on my radar, so I'm just really impressed with everyone's efforts on staff. Great work.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, move on then. Marian?
Okay, so I will just, I'm going to start by saying that I will not have any comments about the building, the collapse. There's litigation, so that won't, I can't. So you understand, there's investigations, there are many things that will be happening, but I can't, as a responsible council person, do that. I can tell you, just to add on to what, because there's confusion about some things, to what Jeff had mentioned, is also, so the city was able to mobilize ARPA funding. There are people in the Davenport Hotel got $6,000 from the city, like as soon as it could be given to them. So it was, I mean, it's an immediate thing. So anybody who was living there, a resident of the building, and there were many lists of who was a resident, so that was a challenge. But in any case, the city was able to write those checks. The people around that were displaced for a while got 1,000, and those two we asked minimal identification, very minimal identification. They would get them in, they would cut the checks and Custody Bank, and people would go to the bank that afternoon. So that was happening as soon as it took a couple of days for this to put the program together, obviously, but then by the next week it was rolling really well. I don't have the figures as to where we are, but it is a significant number of people. There was also, you may have heard about state dollars. That goes through Community Action of Eastern Iowa. They've been involved, and you have to go register there. That's not through the city. That takes longer because it is more like a reimbursement base. So that is more difficult for people. But I will say that in all of this process, the Red Cross held a mark down at the Y the Saturday after, and there were agencies there. It was so, I went down and said, this room is too small, and it's personal information, it's confidential, so I stepped out. But they had people from the driver's license bureau, people like that getting people's licenses. The post office was there, the coroner's office. I don't believe they were there, but they were giving free to people any document that was within their purview to get for people, like birth certificates or something like that. So, that was, there was a really outpouring there. And I don't have any, that was the Red Cross's organization. I don't know how many people were reached there, but it seemed to be very busy. So, in any case, so just to add to what you had talked about the dollars and the community foundation. And then the downtown partnership, because there's less assistance for businesses in cases like this, there's really nothing that state had or could do. They did something for businesses, and they have their own set of funds, and they have their own rules about that. So in any case, so that's been, obviously a lot of time, occupying a lot of my time in the last month, the last couple of weeks. But the other thing I wanted to mention, because I'm not sure we talked about it at the last meeting, there is, I will be offering an amendment. We're making a change to a policy of, it has something more about the names, the titles of directors, and because it changes two parts of the ordinance, given everything, that had sort of happened in the state legislature, we wanted to make it very clear that this only dealt with public works, and it didn't deal with the library or the Civil Rights Commission, who have their own set, that they stay independent. And so I will be really will be introducing that amendment tomorrow night, that just adds language that says excluding commissions or agents or other parts of the city that have their own governing bodies. So that should make it clear for everybody going forward. So,
Thank you very much.
that's okay. So that's really all I have.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, party of the park.
Oh, yes.
Library was there, and the next one is this Thursday, and that will be the 2 in June, and then there are 2 in August. So that we're only having 4 this year, but it was a really nice turnout. All the hot dogs were gone, all the ice cream was gone, so
Must have been it.
it's always good. So, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda is new business. And I guess also want to recognize that Tom Engelman has joined the meeting. New business, first item there is a motion to approve the general wage increase of 2% for the library director. They have a motion in that regard.
I so move.
Oh, okay. Malavika.
Malavika.
Thank you. Second? I'll second. Okay, thank you, Tom. Have a motion and a second to approve the general wage increase of 2% for the library director. Is there any discussion?
This is what the unionized folks got, 2%. So this is just keeping you in line with that. Okay, I just wanted to.
Yep, and we need to approve it because the library director reports to us rather than the city administrators. Okay, any other questions or comments on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Sylvia?
Yes.
Thank you. Amanda?
Yes.
Thank you. Laura?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Judy?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes.
Thank you. Malavika?
Yes.
Thank you. And my own vote is yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a motion to approve Magat Architects to provide professional architectural services for the main renovation Phase 2 project. May I have a motion in that regard?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Judy. I have a motion and a second to approve Magat Architects to provide professional architectural services for the main renovation Phase 2 project. Is there any discussion? Jeff?
Thank you, Steve. So we are in the beginning process of phase 2 of the main renovation project and have selected Leggett Architects to provide professional architectural services. The main renovation project, as you know, was completed in spring of 2021 and design was completed 2 to 3 years before that. There are about $500,000 in funds previously allocated by the board to this project. Per city purchasing guidelines, the library may utilize the same firm that we worked with on phase 1 of the main renovation project. Work will largely involve improvements to the exterior and the interior of the building, including updates to the exterior street presence and then ADA accessible entry, as well as additional interior updates. We're trying to do is really make the library more pleasant on the landscaping on the outside and more accessible for people to be able to come into the building. And this is the part that just was not completed when we did the main renovation earlier. This is what we did not get to, is kind of the exterior and then some final things on the inside of the building. So our recommendation is to approve Leggett Architects to provide professional architectural services for phase 2.
Any other discussion? I just have one question. Back when we started the 50th anniversary renovation, one of the big items talked about then was restoring the exterior lighting. I just wondered if that was on the radar screen as part of this.
Exterior lighting was added as part of the renovation. I'm not sure about that.
No.
Restoration?
Yeah. Originally there was spotlights that shined up the side of the building. And that was something that we talked about and also received some favorable comments from the city council when we met with them. But there are some pictures of it here and there, but anyway, I don't know.
There was lighting that was added to the building, but I don't know if that was restored from what previously was there. I'm not sure.
Well, that was out front,
What
that's
was there.
the LED, multicolored LED lighting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was down at least both sides, the north and south side, on the outside, and it, I don't know if it shined up in front of the windows or in between the windows.
I think it was between, those cans were asbestos, so they were removed.
So they were in the dirt, they were in the mulch, right, sort of?
Yeah.
I think I remember what they looked like.
Yeah, they were pieces of transite, which, as Casey said, were made out of asbestos. But anyway, yeah, they, I guess they got to the point maybe where they didn't work for part of that, and so they were taken out. But anyway, that was something we talked about, so I don't know, maybe we talk about it again sometime. Okay, guess one more time. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll call for the vote on the motion to approve Leggett Architects to provide professional architectural services for the main renovation phase 2 project. Amanda,
Yes.
thank you. Laura?
Yes, aye.
Judy?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes.
Thank you. Malavika?
Yes.
Thank you. And Sylvia?
Yes.
And my own vote is yes. Motion carries. Okay. So that is all of our new business. Next item on the agenda is president's comments. Just have a few things there. In about a year, we're going to need some new trustees. So ask everybody to be thinking about that. If there's anybody in your network or that you would think would make a good trustee, please have them fill out the application form that's on the city website.
We could have a different mayor also by that time.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. That's a good point. Okay, so also wanted to remind everyone that there's going to be a Iowa Library Association sponsored co-presentation with the League of Cities regarding House File 718, it's a training thing. information there. And then following that, it's on the 28th of June from 10 to 11 o'clock. And there will be a question and answer period that will follow that at between 10 and 11. And that also will involve the Iowa Department of Management.
What is the House law?
So that is the legislation that's going to reduce property taxes.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. I understand. Okay, yes.
And so, yeah, that's that. And then also on July 26th, 10 to 12, there's going to be some ILA-sponsored advocacy training. Reminder of that. Marion talked about the city code amendment for public works and department heads, so skip that. And anyway, also I submitted a proposal for a session proposal for the Iowa Library Association conference in October, and mine was accepted, so I'll be making a presentation to them. And the theme of my session is thoughts of a retiring trustee.
Have song dance to go with that?
Yeah, maybe. I have to fill in time. That'll work. Okay. Anyway, see how that goes. Okay, so that's all the comments I have. So now we're on to item 7, board training. Turn it over to Brittany. Thank you very much for the items you sent in advance and for being here to give us some training.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'll have to open my email.
Sorry.
So while she's pulling that up, just briefly, Brittany Peacock is the community outreach supervisor for that department. That department was created right at 2 years ago now.
Going on 5. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We're not quite a baby anymore. We're about to enter kindergarten. So. Well, I did bring some swag for you today. One of the duties of the community and outreach marketing department is to order all the swag that we give away at parties and parks, community events. So we always have our favorite color changing cups. Just a nice gentle reminder to come use the library. Entertain yourself. And then new this year are these adorable stickers for our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. They've been a really big hit. So if you're interested.
The cups are a really big hit with our grandchildren because they change color when you fill them up.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they're really cool.
But cold water, I think these turn blue.
You're kidding?
Yes.
Pour some water in. No, it's
Yeah, cold water. You know what? We can do a science experiment at first.
The link's not in your email, right?
Did it not go?
Was it like
Oh my
a hot link?
Yes, that'd be great. Okay, you know what? I would probably pop into Canva really fast. The stickers. Oh, I was gonna post them. Oh, yeah, but.
Since I'm doing it.
Yep.
I'm trying to decide if I have a cup at home. I'll take one. Thank you.
Me too. So lucky I had to bring it. There's tea light.
You guys are still pulling things up. Can I add something?
Morning, so.
All right.
No.
So, yeah, cold, cold
The ones
liquid.
that stands on that.
Changes colors.
And then I'll go share screen.
Fantastic.
I know, hopefully. Where did it go? Right.
It's the very last one.
Did we X out of the meeting? Maybe put a different
Oh, there they are. They were in a different room. It must be a Scorpio or something, technical issues. Mercury and retrogrades.
I should get the stickers. Oh, did you want a sticker? Sure.
Sorry.
What did you do with them? I'm bad. I didn't take them.
Toss them around.
Oh,
There they go.
I got a sticker.
Those are for kids, but after they have so many, read so many books.
Yay, thank you.
For those online, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool.
I can see it too.
Amazing. Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for being
Thank
with me. In outreach, we kind of thrive on chaos, so you just got a little hint of what it is like to be an outreacher. And hopefully everything will go smoothly from now. All right, so I'm Brittany Peacock. I am the supervisor of the Community Outreach and Marketing Department. So you'll notice the name has changed a little. So when outreach was formed, we were the Community Outreach Department. And last year, I brought up a proposal to admin, and I said, you know, we do a lot of marketing. Is there a way we could add marketing? I know it's a lot of extra words, but it really encompasses what we are as a team. So they were wonderful and agreed to allow us to add in marketing at the end. But we lovingly call our department outreach because it can be a little wordy at times. So thanks for listening to my presentation today. Okay, so just a little intro to our department. So we were founded in 2019. We were officially started on January 2nd. That was my first day with the department. We were formed in response to a strategic planning session when we were surveying the community. A lot of the responses said, we want to see the library into the world more. And I know some of you were sitting on the board when this was happening, so thank you for my job and for this department. And so we really hit the ground running. So our OWL we started that process in 2017, I believe. And then she was delivered to us in 2020, mid-pandemic, right in May. The original plan for the OWL was to take it out and do Wi-Fi, or to do pop-up libraries, but instead we took it out for Wi-Fi stops for that whole summer, really learning the OWL, the vehicle. I should say it's called the OWL because it stands for Outreach Wheeled Library. So I'm going to call it our OWL.
Does she have a name?
My son calls her the Owl Bus, so I thought it was fun to call her Owlbus. Owlbus, the Owl Bus. So we've thought about doing some campaigns to name it, but that's kind of where we've landed thus far. Okay, so thank you. So here is my small but mighty team. So we are composed throughout the year consistently with 3 employees. 2 full-time and 1 part-time. And then you'll see my 4 new faces this summer. 2 are returning. So you'll see myself up there at the top, the Community Outreach and Marketing Supervisor. So my main duties obviously are overseeing my department. I do a lot of the marketing for our department. I co-host our podcast, and I'll talk a little bit about that later because I'm always shamelessly plugging our podcast. I also oversee the social media team. So we have multiple platforms. So I oversee the amazing creative team who put those together. And I also represent our library with the Association of Bookmobiles and Outreach Services. I'm currently serving as their president this year. So I'm going to be going to ALA shortly after this. So we'll be presenting there this week. And then next up we have Michelle. She's been with our department, I believe, since September of 2019. So her main focus is senior outreach and community events. Those are her bread and butter, and she does really well with those. And then next up we have Vana. She's been with us just over 6 months, and her main focus is youth outreach, but she also does some senior outreach as well as some community events. And then here in the bottom, so we have Alyssa Felix. She's joining us again. This will be her 2nd summer with us for our library in the park crew. She's here in the afternoon, so and then I'll get to her counterpart, which is Deborah. They are visiting some community organizations this year. So in the past, we've done library in the parks, And some of the feedback we received from our staff was, how about we get into some of our community organizations and do some more with them? So when I put my proposal together, I had asked if we could do partnerships with Boys and Girls Club, with Stepping Stones, and that was approved, which is wonderful. So they will be heading to our Stepping Stones first site today, this afternoon. So they'll be visiting Hayes, Fillmore, Madison, and Jefferson. So that's very exciting. And then when they're not at Stepping Stones, they'll be in Boys and Girls Clubs on Monday and be visiting some parks as well. So they'll be at Marquette Park and Sunderbrook Park as well. So busy, busy team there. And then we have Amanda and Liam. So those are my morning crew. They are primarily parks crew. So Amanda now, this is her third summer with us. So she is a veteran and we're so, so grateful to have her back. She has a lot to bring to the team. Amanda and Liam will be visiting Emice, Goose Creek, Fedger, Annie Wittenmeyer, and then they're also going to be helping with the Sunderbrook visits as well. So a lot of busyness going on. Alyssa is coming to us from the school district. She is the family liaison. And then Amanda is a preschool teacher in Bettendorf. Deborah is coming from us from the Bettendorf School District as well. And then Liam just graduated from St. Ambrose University. So we're excited. He thinks he may want to be a librarian someday. So he's testing the waters. So I hope we leave a good impression. Perfect. So I just wanted to give a few statistics. Our team is busy. We do a lot of wonderful things, and we could not do that without the support of our administration and of other employees within the library. So that goes for our leadership team as well as a lot of the staff. So last year in fiscal year 2022, we attended 354 off-site programs. So some of those were put on by us. So those are story time visits, senior outreach stops. Some of those are Party in the Parks, different organizations that we partner with. And then we provided services for 11,795 people. So it's very exciting. It was a really good year for us last year.
So I just have a question.
Yes.
On that, like, let's say the 11,000, whatever.
Yes.
So what would be the comparative number from, 3 years ago?
Oh goodness. I can't give you that, but I know we've grown exponentially since those first couple of years. I can get you.
Well, it just would be good to know about it yourself.
Absolutely.
Like we're working.
Yes, absolutely. I can get those stats for you.
I'm just.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so currently this is what we have going on for senior outreach. So one of our big focuses, this is one of our biggest focuses. We have 14 stops currently. So we're adding about 1 or 2 stops every year. So we're at the point where we're almost kind of capped out because we do only have 3 employees. So a lot of the prep work and visits take a good chunk of our time. So of those 14 stops, we do deposit collections at some of them. So that means we curate lists, or they give us lists, and then we curate collections for those stops specifically. So this actually started in 2020. We didn't really do too much of it until then. And so Michelle has a lot of stops that will call her, whether it's individual patrons. One of her stops is Silvercrest.
Do you have like a regular schedule, like for the stops? Or just wait to?
Yeah. So we do have a regular schedule. We have it on a reoccurring monthly visit for our.
So you stop, they like give books and then at time for them to return and all that.
Exactly. Yep, once a month we visit them. Yeah.
Good.
As much as they want us to come more, and we want to come more too, but once a month is how. Thank you. That was a great question. Is when we stop to them. So Michelle will get phone calls from individual patrons. So Silvercrest is one of our biggest individual patron stops. She has about 9 patrons that will call her and give them a list of items that they would like. She curates that list for them, gets it together, checks it out, and hand delivers it to each and every one of them. So then they do a swap. Some of them are deposits based on location. So she'll have an activity director contact her and say, hey, here are the things that our patrons are really wanting right now. Can you just put a bag together? So sometimes it's a whole bunch of DVDs or large print materials, things like that they can't access. So she's able then to deliver it to them. it's very exciting. It does take a lot of phone calls, which is wonderful, and sometimes it's the highlight of our day. We have one patient that will call, and when she calls us, we get really excited. She's a delight. Some of our stops are pop-ups. So this picture is an example of a pop-up. So last summer, I was able to take the owl to one of my senior outreach stops. This is Luther Crest. So I did the full library setup. I got the carts off. I was able to get some holds that they had wanted, and then they were able to come outside in that open air and check out the books. So a typical pop-up can either be with the owl. Right now, since it's out in the parks this summer, it's a little bit more busy, so we do utilize our minivan at Eastern, and we will fill it full of bins of books or whatever they're kind of interested in. We really curate our collections based on the needs. Some stops like their crest is a big large print stop, so they really like to check out their large prints. They are starting to check out more DVDs, so I kind of listen to the trends. I do have a patron that checks out CDs, so I bring items based on their needs, and then they're able to browse like they could at a library, but maybe are unable to get to. So it's a really wonderful experience. And then at Luther Crest, we also have a book club, so we get together and they let me choose. I don't know why they keep letting me choose the book, but they keep letting me choose the book. Sometimes it pans out and they love it. Sometimes it's not really their cup of tea, but either way, we have a wonderful discussion every time. And a lot of times our stops are kind of turning into tech help as well. So they'll bring, I got this tablet for Christmas, or I want to download the Libby app. I can't do CDs anymore. How do I listen to audiobooks? So it's been really fun getting to do some different services we don't normally provide for them. Okay, our youth outreach. So this is my favorite. So we currently go to 8 different locations right now for story times. And each location, we provide multiple story times while we're there. So for example, this picture is at St. Ambrose Children's Campus, and I do 4 story times while I'm there. So I'm there about an hour and a half when I go to read to them, maybe a little bit more. So usually those days we're a little sleepy after those visits. It's high energy, but it's so unbelievably fun. So a typical story time is we bring about 4 books. We bring coloring sheets with all the titles that we've read that day, as well as a shameless plug for 1,000 Books for Kindergarten. And then on the back is a coloring sheet. So that way families can see what was happening in the classroom, and then hopefully, take those books and put them on their 1,000 Books for Kindergarten logs, and maybe even visit us at the library. We have a lot of fun at those stops. So like I said, we do 8 locations right now, and that's also on a monthly basis. There is one stop we visit that's kind of, they give us a call when they want us to come and set it up, which is wonderful. And we're almost capped out on our story time locations right now as well, but we can squeeze some more in, I think. And then I wanted to also add a few of our community partners that are geared towards youth outreach. So we also visit Project Renewal about once a month. So Bonham will be there this afternoon doing the story time and activities with them. As I said earlier, Boys and Girls Club, we visit them yearly, and then my summer crew is going to take on and do a little bit more in-depth programming with them this summer, once a week. And then we also have a strong partnership with Stepping Stones as well. Okay, community events, also love this. There isn't a lot that I don't love about my job, to be completely honest. I love just about everything. So community events, I love a good community event. So this picture is from the citywide egg hunt this year. We saw over 250 kids that day. It was a very busy day. We were able to get some help from our customer services team that day. So this is just a small snapshot of what we do for community events. So we attend February Family Fun once a month. And when it's not happening in July, that's because they're doing Youth Fest, which is super fun. So we'll be there this year. Last year, we saw 750 kiddos. And one of my other duties as assigned is I can make balloon animals. Balloon dogs, I should say. Balloon dogs. I can only make a dog. But I was making balloon dogs that whole time, and I couldn't move my fingers after that. But boy, I had a lot of happy kids at the end. So that was really fun. We attend all the party in the parks, and I absolutely love that. I had the wonderful privilege of being sitting in at the table when we first started this, and I'm so glad that we keep that we keep getting invited back and we're a good partner. I love it so much. We did, as Marion said, we just had our first one last week and it was lovely. It was just so fun. We get invited to the Fall Bow Arts Fair at the Figgy. So we attend that every year. We have a little table and we do a craft for the children, and then we also plug library services programming there. Nahant Marsh always invites us to the butterfly release party, and this is my absolute favorite program all year long. It's so much fun. During that, I typically do a story time and then also have a table for information. We just did this Juneteenth celebration at the MLK, with MLK Center at the Lincoln Center this Saturday. Lexi and some of our other teammates did the QC Unity Pride Parade on Saturday as well. Saturday was a really busy day. We had 3 outreach events that day, and it all was lovely, and it went great from what I can see. So, and then we also do Planet FunCon. It's a fun way to reach other patrons we may not be reaching, normally. We do farmers markets once a month, and like I said, that's only a small snapshot of what we do. Basically, if you invite us, we're going to try to make it work, and we're going to try to come. Okay, so I talked about our outreach, but we also do our marketing. So, I wanted to include our brand guide and marketing plan in your packets. It's a big guide. Lexi, Jeff, and I worked really hard on refining that, and we had an original done in 2020, and then when our strategic plan was changed, we wanted to update it. So that was a big project for last year, getting a new plan together. So in that, it shows our branding guidelines, as well as sets up some goals for our future, how we want to pinpoint our marketing so that we are bringing people in, and also really supporting our strategic plan. So it's a very important document, and it's a living document. So we're finding some new things every day that we can add to it or to adapt, but it's a very important document. So keeping our branding in mind, when we are putting together all of our marketing, we want it to be cohesive. We want it to fit our message, and for people to know that it is coming from the Denver Public Library. So our main focus for marketing is our programs. We have so many amazing programs, and each one of them is going to get marketing. Whether it's going in that monthly calendar that I see you have, things like this is a newer feature that we've started this year, is making sure that we have a monthly calendar distributed out. So July is almost done, and we'll be getting that into the hands of our patrons very soon. So every program is going to get a LibCal photo. So that's just a small snapshot of what we do. And that shows up when you search our programming calendar on our website. And then after that, they all get a Facebook event photo. So every single one of them will get a Facebook event. We've found that that's where the vast majority of our people are still finding out about our programs. We've done some surveys, and that's still been a very popular spot for people. So we make sure that we're doing Facebook events for everything. We also do LCD slides. So when you're walking into the building, we have our LCD monitors, so make sure to take a peek at those. We also do our web banners as well. So a lot of different marketing. We also put together press releases for bigger programs, especially those that we're bringing speakers in for, and all of that wonderful stuff. So in addition to marketing our programs, we also market a lot of the changes that are happening in the library, whether it's closing the building, holiday closures, our makerspace. It's not all bad changes. A lot of it's good changes too. So that's been really fun to be able to be a part of that. We're also marketing our new services, which is very exciting, and then we also market our policy as well. So marketing the unexpected. So this is a part of our job that allows us to adapt. That's why our team is so good at adapting, because that's definitely something we need to do. So we have a plan in our department that when something happens that's unexpected, it will automatically get a web banner. It will automatically get a poster if we can. It will get a Facebook event or a social media post. all of that. So that is typically conveyed to us by administration, and then we go forth and prosper and make sure that we're getting that. So here's an example of what that looks like on social media. Okay, so a big project that is underway is we're doing a signage audit of all of our buildings. So we started at Main. We started in early January. I think we started in January. So we took a tour of our main branch, and we saw that some of it, we wanted to just make it all cohesive. We wanted it to be a cohesive message, and we wanted our patrons to walk up and say, this came from the Davenport Public Library. So what I've been doing over the last couple of months is making sure that everything is unified. So here's just an example. Our children's area at Main is finished now with all of our markings. So part of that is we created a template, and all of our posters are put on that template so that everything matches. Awesome. So some very exciting changes to come in 2023. Library in the Park is back, as I said. And then we are also partnering with the Davenport Parks and Recreation Department, and a huge thanks to our friends of the library. They are co-sponsoring 3 new story walks in the community. So this is going to be helping. They're all in areas where we have library card deserts, so areas that are low on library card registration. So we're actually going to be putting one up at Lafayette Park, so that's coming up. We also have Jersey Farms, because believe it or not, on the east side of town, we really have pretty low registrations of library cards. And then we also are setting up at Van Buren Park, which is actually getting a lot of new updates. So that's just off of Rockingham Road. So we're very excited. Those are in the process of being purchased right now. And Parks and Rec will be installing them. And we get to choose the books, which is wonderful. Awesome. Do you have any questions? Yes.
I was surprised too by the 52807 zip code being a library card desert. Do you think that that is, and maybe I just don't know enough about Northeast Davenport demographics, but also another thing could be too that, going back, those people may be more convenient for them to go to Bettendorf. A lot of people used to.
That could be.
But also maybe it's, people that are, more technologically advantaged. And,
Maybe have the resources.
Yeah, so, but anyway, that kind of surprised me, but just the fact that you're, addressing those areas, identifying them and making plans to address them, that also was really neat. And you no doubt do amazing work with a small but mighty team.
We are small but mighty.
Let's see.
Brittany,
Yes.
this is Malvika, and I just love everything you guys do on social media. And, there's so much of visibility. There's so much where people kind of say, oh, I got to know from Facebook or maybe Instagram or something like that. My daughter, who was not following you on Instagram, has started following on Instagram, which is a good thing. And I have been hearing, as my kid goes to the college and across the river, I've been hearing some of the students, not just her, but I've been hearing from other parents that how much their children, students of a college, are enjoying coming to the Davenport Public Library's Eastern branch to study. It seems it is peaceful and things like that. So I said, write to the librarians, thank them for it and stuff like that. So this is what I've been hearing. That is so wonderful. We get to know from social media, we could do this and that. And another thing, recently you guys have introduced something like pics. I don't know what they call, like book pics or something, like Ashley found in the it runs around Ashley who works.
Oh yes.
And something like Ashley found reading such and such and such. It is such fun because then it is giving attention to those particular items that are there in the library.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Oh, my team is so creative and so brilliant. I'm so lucky to
Yes.
that
Oh,
team.
Brittany, last thing. If you ever create a decal or something like iLibrary at DPL or something, I'm going to stick on all my cars.
Love it. That has been something that I keep thinking that needs to be created, and I haven't done it yet. So maybe this is just
No, that's okay. Just a thought.
it's great.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you to you and all of you in your department.
Thank you so much.
I know you guys were over time, but can I add something quick? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I was at Vanderveer last Friday with my 4-year-old, and we knew yoga in the park was going on, which was great. He didn't last long. It was really fantastic. There were tons of people out there. The owl was out there, and somehow I'm embarrassed to say this is the first time I've gotten to see it in person, and my son was ecstatic about it. And I believe it was Michelle who was running it that day, and I could hear her. She was marketing everything. She was telling everyone who came up about Party in the Park, about all the different reading challenges, about, just different events that they could get involved in. And I was just, she was very impressive. She had all the information. She made it super easy for people to check out who didn't have the library cards with them. I was just very impressed, and it was such a great experience for my son for the first time for him seeing, what we call the bookmobile still here. But she did a fantastic job. So.
Thanks for sharing, Amanda. That's so exciting. Judy, did you?
Yeah, I just, it's a small thing, it's not small though, that pay attention to signage, because so often you go in a public building and you're supposed to intuit, and there's no clue, or maybe it's really old, and it's pointing, and you think, well, okay, where's that? So I thank you for doing that, because it's a lot of people, I think they get overlooked.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think
People kind of looking around, and do you know where the restrooms are? Usually that's the one. Nice to mark things out.
Yes,
Thank you.
very, very much. And I realized I didn't talk about Checked In, our podcast, so if you want to talk about Checked In, I will talk your ear off about it. But I do want to be respectful of your time, so, yes.
Podcast, just the mention in the advanced information you gave us about the podcast, especially the podcast involving the ALA president. I was interested in that. I haven't looked at it. The first thing I had to do, or listened to it, first thing I had to do is find it. And I've looked for those before and come up not found, and then I realized I was searching the catalog. But anyway, no, I did. That caused me to look again, and I did find it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good, awesome. They reached out to us, and I think I let out a very loud, audible squeal. I'm sure that Lexi heard me from another building, but this is what an honor to have her come on and talk about the conference. And it's very fun.
I just have one other question, and I don't know if it's relevant because I don't really know how many people use it, but do you also put things on Nextdoor?
We can't. Actually,
you
Malavika
can't.
has been helping us with that.
Okay.
Every once in a while.
I get it. Okay.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't know, I can't remember what the parameters was, but we didn't meet at the time.
I got it.
when we were
Okay.
looking into
It just seems like the right,
Yes.
a really good fit. Not the others
Absolutely.
aren't, but like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we could, if we saw it, we could put it on there.
Yes, absolutely. That would be
Marion.
Yeah.
Marion, your question, I have shared library things on Nextdoor because they cannot do it.
I got it. Okay.
It really helps.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Brittany?
Just one thing that I wanted to share, in addition to the wonderful work that Brittany does, just in terms of being in the community and being the face of the library in a lot of different areas and capacities, but the podcast, which we brought up, the TV6 Book Club as well, which is really great. But then the other thing that she had mentioned earlier, and that is also in her report, which is a really big deal, is that she is the current president of the Association for Bookmobile and Outreach Services, and ABOS is a national library organization. So Brittany is representing Davenport Public Library on a national stage, and she's doing a really great job with that. We just really appreciate all that she does.
Good work.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Next item on the agenda. else or something. There it is. Next item on the agenda is to adjourn. May I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Okay.
I second.
Okay, thank you, Judy and Malavika. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Appreciate it.